Jeff Moyer is the Director of Farm Operations at the Rodale Institute in Kutztown, Pennsylvania. He is the author of the book Organic No-Till Farming, an excellent book that covers improving soil structure, reducing and eliminating tillage, crop rotation, the use of cover crops, building soil biology, and a whole lot more. He speaks at many conferences throughout the year discussing things like cover crops and organic no-till farming, crop rotation, weed management, equipment modification, and facilities design. Jeff's been with the Rodale Institute for more than 30 years, bringing a farmer's perspective and approach to the world of organic agriculture, and he's helped many farmers over the years to make a transition from conventional to organic farming. He spoke in December at the Acres USA conference in Indianapolis, and again this year at the Moses Organic Farming Conference on La Crosse. Jeff's a very popular speaker, and as you can see from some of this footage from this year's Moses conference, he was very well attended.
Early in spring, I plant a really early spring crop. Say you want to get spinach in as soon as you can dry on the soil. Forage trash would be great. It's going to die, it's going to decompose, the soil is nice and loose. There's all these radish roots that just fall apart in the soil when the soil freezes. And in the spring, it looks like a giant walk-under field with golf shoes. You know, it's just bazillions of holes roll of the radishes rot away. Perfect to just come in there and you can no-till seed your radishes right into that.
It's really cool to see people of all ages interested in his work. They're really into what he has to say. I witnessed a lot of people studiously taking notes, soaking in all that they can. In this brief interview, I asked Jeff about some of the basics of cover crops. He discussed what a few of the things are that they can do and a little bit about how they work. He touched on the differences between conventional row crop systems and the organic approach with cover crops. I also asked him more about the organic no-till system and how it got started. What are we trying to achieve with cover crops?
Well, cover crops can do a lot of things for us. The real simple thing is they can stop erosion because you got plant roots in the ground and you got some cover there to protect the soil. But that's just the tip of the iceberg of what cover crops can do for us. I mean, what we're looking at accomplishing with cover crops on our farms, we're looking at them to supply all the nitrogen for the soil. We're looking at them to certainly protect the soil by having green roots there. We're looking at them to build up the soil fungi populations and support the life of the soil microbial populations that are underground, because we need green living roots in the soil in order to translate sunlight into energy, and the only way to do that is by having a plant there.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't happen when the sun hits the soil. You've got to have a plant in between.
Right.
So by having the ground covered with something green and growing 12 months out of the year, we can accomplish all of those things. I mean, we can cycle nutrients better. We can any nitrogen that's in the pool, in the soil, we can trap and keep with a green living plant there, so it doesn't leach out of the system. So they're trap crops. There's all kinds of things we can do with cover crops. And then with the organic no-till system, what we're also trying to do is then use those cover crops as a mulch to suppress weed growth. So we're asking a lot of our cover crops, but we're trying to put a lot of energy into growing the cover crops as well. So on our farm, growing cover crops is our #1 priority, which is completely different what most farmers think about.
Right.
You know, most farmers are saying, well, I've got these cash crops, and after the cash crop, I could put in a cover crop if I wanted to. And what we're saying is, no, we're going to try to grow cover crops all the time, and every now and then we got to grow cash crops because we have to make a living. But the goal is really to build soil, and cover crops, along with compost and crop rotations, is one of the major key components to building a good, healthy soil.
Right. And it's pretty essential to mimicking what nature does, right? I mean, to get the soil to be...
Particularly in the temperate zone, yeah. I mean, nature wants to cover the ground with something green and growing, and what we're saying is it's either going to be weeds or it's going to be what we want. So why don't we plant something that we want that fits in with our system? And so we'll plant a legume that'll capture nitrogen from the air and fix it in the soil rather than just have weeds there. But nature's going to cover the ground, and so we're mimicking a natural system.
Right. How long has the Rodale Institute been doing work with cover crops now?
Well,
pretty much from the beginning?
Pretty much from the beginning. Yeah. Again, understanding that we've got to look to nature for the example. So how do we work with that? But I would say it's only been the last 20 years or so that we've really been trying to push the envelope on cover crops. In the last 10 years, we've really been saying, look, this is the secret to the success of moving organic agriculture from a plow and cultivate system into a system that can facilitate some annual no-till.
Tell me a little bit about the organic no-till farming system and how that got started and what that's trying to achieve.
Well, it got started because we understand that we're spending all this time building up the health of the soil, building up the soil microbial populations, and then we're going to come in and till the soil. We're going to rip it up or tear it upside down, And so we intuitively know that that's not good. But we didn't really have any other tools that would prevent us from needing to do or allowing us to do some planting without tillage. On the other hand, we know that conventional no-till has spent a lot of time and energy in ag engineering to develop planters, transplanters, and grain drills that will allow us to get seeds and transplants into ground that isn't tilled. So then how do we take advantage of that as organic farmers? So we're trying to take advantage of modern technology and biology to make these systems work and eliminating the chemistry from the system.
Yep, absolutely. Great. Well, good work. Good luck for whatever the future holds. But we do see more farmers wanting to do this, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter whether they're gardeners, or vegetable growers, perennial crop producers, or agronomic crop producers. The idea of not having to till the soil, not having to cultivate for weed management every year for every crop is really exciting to people. So I think we're going to see a lot more of this work in the future.
I mean, isn't this kind of like the ancient practice somewhat too of letting your ground go fallow, but not just letting it go fallow, but actually growing that cover crop now to produce a better soil?
Well, yes and no. When you think about fallow periods, fallow is normally thought of as a resting period.
Right.
When you're resting the soil, and we're doing just the opposite. We're asking the soil to work,
To become more active.
and to work 12 months out of the year, 365 days a year, for every crop in every season.
Right.
Realizing that biological systems, by their very nature, don't like rest. They always say a body at rest stays at rest. A body in motion stays in motion. We want our soil to stay in motion, constantly improving, constantly working. So, by having cover crops on the field, by changing our rotations, by being diverse, we're actually working that natural plant growing muscle, the soil, so that it's getting stronger and improving while we're growing our crop.
Yep.
That's what biology allows us to do.
And that's going to give us better health and better everything down the road.
Exactly.
So, all right. Well, thanks for your time, Jeff. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Bye.
Thank you.